All right, we've got Scott on the line. Scott, this is Tony Beshara with the Job Search Solution. How can we help you?
Good morning, Tony.
Hey,
I've got a question I'm hoping you can help me with.
we'll do our best.
I was with a company for about 8 years. I was laid off about 4 months ago. I have had one interview, and I just got an offer yesterday. But the problem is it's significantly less than what I had been previously earning. I haven't been in the market again for a long time, but I don't know if companies are willing to negotiate an offer. If I can, how I do it. Can you help me with this?
Sure, you bet. Okay, what kind of business are you in, Scott? What do you do?
I'm a mid-level IT or information technology manager. I was with a larger company, and now the company that I'm interviewing with, it's a much smaller company. The responsibility is probably about the same, but it's on a broader scale. I was involved with one area, now I've got more areas, but again, it's basically 20% less than what I was making before.
Okay, all right. Well, how many other interviews have you had?
None, just this one.
Okay, well, then and they've made you an offer. They haven't hinted at an offer. They've actually made you an offer, right?
They've made me an offer.
Okay, all right. Okay, here's the take I would have on that. First of all, congratulations. You're fortunate. You've been out of work for a long time. You got an offer. Amen, brother. That's better than what most people got. In a situation like that, when you don't have a lot to compare it to, I would try to work something out with them. Going in there with the idea that you've got 3 or 4 other offers and you really want to negotiate with them isn't probably going to get you very far. They know what the market is for your skills, and you know too. Come on, in 4 months you've only had one opportunity. Amen. You're batting 1,000 on interviews. That's really, really good. So I would go in with the attitude of I'm going to work something out with them. Here's the way I would approach it so that you don't get sideways with them. I go in face to face, and how many interviews have you had with them? And obviously, it's going pretty good. So, do you like everything about the job other than the money?
Well, there's some things I like. Yes, it's a smaller environment. Seems like a very collegial group. Seems like a good environment. I'd use the term somewhat family friendly as opposed to the larger company that I worked with before.
Okay.
So there's some real positives. Again, the responsibility is relatively comparable, except because it's a smaller company, I would essentially wear more hats. But I just, at 20% less than what I was making before, I just don't really know if I'm being fairly compensated. Maybe just one interview in 4 months, maybe that indicates I am.
Well, you guessed that right. One interview in 4 months and you get the deal. That's pretty good. I would not look a gift horse in the mouth, not in this market. I want to comfort you in this regard. Size really has nothing to do with the quality of the company or the job or anything like that. Average job in the United States lasts 2.5 years, whether you're working for a Fortune 500 company or you're working for a small firm. It really doesn't. People don't recognize that size really doesn't have anything to do with the quality of the company. They're either a good company and you do them a good job, or they're not. So I wouldn't let that bother you. You're probably going to wear more hats. That's to be expected. I wouldn't mess with this very much, and I wouldn't negotiate very much. I'll tell you how to walk in and do it. But if you've gotten an offer and it's a reasonable offer with a reasonable opportunity, and money and is the only thing you're concerned about, you're in real good shape, especially in this market because it's just darn tough out there. So here's what I would suggest you do. You go in and you sit down with them. Don't do this on email and don't do this over the phone. Get down in front of them, and after you've discussed everything about the job, every aspect of it, all the questions you might have, write them all out. Go in and get all of that stuff answered. Then you want to look the hiring authority in the eye, and you want to say, look, I really like this job. I want to go to work here. See, that removes the fear they have that you're going to turn them down. Okay? So I want this job. I want to go to work here. It doesn't mean you have to do it, but you have to give them that comfort that You're not going to turn them down after they go all through the trouble of offering you the job. This is a good opportunity for both of us, for both you and for me. So I want you to know I really want this job. This is 20% less than what I've made before. And here's the lip load. Is there anything we can do to bring that salary up so it's as commensurate with what I've earned before as possible? And then shut up and just look them in the eye. Now, I read a book the other day by some guru, some career counselor that was telling people how to negotiate. And he told people to go in and say something like, well, you know, I was underpaid where I was before, and I'd like to get more money. Are you kidding me? That's nuts. Everybody feels like they're underpaid. Don't say something stupid like that. You go in and you say, is there anything we can do to close this gap between what I've earned and what you're offering me? And then shut up and see what they say. That way, you give them the opportunity to back out, to be able to say, well, Scott, you know, that's the very best we can do. And you haven't thrown down the gauntlet and you haven't painted yourself into a corner by communicating to them the idea that if you don't come up with more money, I'm not going to do it. So this takes a little practice. Practice with your spouse or with a coach or somebody, and say just that. Is there anything we can do to close that gap? And then shut up. If they come up with the idea that we can't do anything, that's the very best we can do, then you got a decision to make. Bluntly, I'd tell you to go ahead and do it. One interview in 4 months, I'd take the darn job and I'd figure it out. I would tell any candidate, it's not what you go in at, it's what you come out at. 20% hit isn't fun, but it's better than what you're making now. And with the prospect of very few interviews like you've had, you know, I'd try to put something together with them. What do you think?
That certainly makes sense. You know, I like, in essence, a non-confrontational way of seeing what they can do without saying yes or no.
Right.
You're right. It's not painting either me or them in a corner.
Right. And then you can come up with, you know, you can also ask, well, how often are your reviews? What can we do here? You know, communicating the idea of we're all in this together. So what can we do to close that gap so that it's a good deal for all of us? And then if they say no, at least you've tried, but you've tried in a non-confrontational way, and you haven't, like I say, painted them into a corner.
Okay.
All right, Scott, hey, give it a go, and then call us and let us know what happened, okay?
Okay, thank you, Tony.
All right, good luck. All right, thanks. All right, great question. Hope Scott pulls that off.